Hi, this is Matt Templeton with Keller Williams Realty. Just want to give you a quick overview of what's important to know about how we list properties and how we can determine the best ways to market and present your property to get it sold. So the first thing you need to know is that there's three things that affect the value and the saleability of your home. The first thing is going to be presentation. Really, presentation is the thing that you're going to have the most control over. And that's things like staging, smells, updates, maintenance, the way that things appear and look at your house to a potential buyer. The second thing is marketing, and that's where I really come in. Marketing is my specialization. It's things like how we expose it to potential buyers, how the information gets out to potential buyers, what it looks like on the internet and through our marketing materials, whether it looks high quality, well presented, whether we take that presentation and deliver it well. And then the final thing is pricing. And honestly, pricing is the thing that neither you or I have control over. It's the thing that the market has control over. Now, my goal is always to get you premium pricing by looking at a range of pricing potentials and determining how high we can get based on how well you present and how well I can market it. And the way we want to market it is to try and get that high price. Now, the thing is still that no matter what I market, no matter what you present, there's always going to be a cap on that price. And that cap is determined by those market variables. So if the market is losing value or if there's not a lot of comparables to make that value, then we have to say, well, the value's gone down or the house is not worth quite what it was worth maybe in the past. And appraisers are becoming much more strict about making sure that the value is true. For example, appraisers are being highly regulated to say that they can only go so high in their adjustments above what their other comparables are. So if they have to select three comparables and all three of those comparables are $100,000 and we're trying to convince them to sell it for $200,000, they might be able to adjust those $100,000 comparables somewhat. But there's a limit. They couldn't double those comparables in value in order to get us what they're going to get us in value. So anyway, appraisers are being highly regulated. Pricing is much harder to hit if we don't have comparables that are similar. That we can use that are within the last 6 months, that are within a certain area, that are similar condition and similar construction, similar property type, that sort of thing. Another thing to remember too on marketing comparables is that you could have something that's maybe different or that's a different style that you don't like as much, and it doesn't mean necessarily that that property is worth less than yours or more than yours. There are some things that add value. There's a lot of things that don't add value. That's the same thing with things that you might improve. It's not necessarily going to add value, and so we can talk about in your home what things may or may not add value. Okay. Now, as far as presentation goes, here's a few more tips for you to consider. When you're walking through the house, we want to keep minimal amounts of things in the house. So not a ton of furniture, not a ton of clutter. I recommend very few things on countertops, on dressers, on any sort of surface, and also very few things on the walls. So kind of maybe one dominant piece on each wall. Definitely not a lot of pictures of family, just because it can be dangerous, and also it can be distracting, especially if you've got a really beautiful family. People will go through and ooh and ah and not pay attention to your house. And that's true of any nice items in the home. You know, we want to keep things that are more of a distraction out of the home. Oftentimes I say pick furniture and colors that are neutral. You know, in interior design, we try to design to specific things we love. You know, we might paint a wall red or pick something that's really special to centralize in a home. And in staging, we actually depersonalize the home and make it more general. We want to make it something that's that anyone could walk in and love. So we pick things like khaki or tan as the wall color. We do white trim. We do leathers and granites and things that maybe not everyone loves, but a general part of the population sees as valuable and quality, that sort of thing. So those are just things to remember in the presentation, is that we want to declutter, take things out that are personal, that are overly distracting. And the other thing to do in presentation is to do maintenance things, you know. Make sure there's no obvious signs that the house is in disrepair. Maybe if there's a lot of holes in the walls, or there's some fascia on the outside that's falling off, or large stucco patches that are missing, those sorts of things, those need to be addressed if possible. So those are maintenance things. Other things in presentation are smells or dirty clothes or things that we've left out on bathroom countertops. Again, surface is clear. try and keeping it as clean and neutral as possible. That's how we're going to do it. We can go into further detail on presentation too. If I have a chance to go by the house and look at that, those sorts of things we can talk about. Or you may have gotten my email list as well by now. The other thing is marketing. Now that's where I really have the control, and we want to make sure that your house is better marketed than any other home, or as well marketed as any other home, and we want to get you better exposure than any other realtor is going to get you. Okay. Now Keller Williams has some great marketing techniques. We have a lot of really great avenues that your home gets distributed out to, but I personally take on an additional level of quality and internet marketing that's going to get you above and beyond what general Keller Williams systems are going to do. Okay, for one thing, we're going to make sure that you're on every website, because the National Association of Realtors has done some statistics gathering to find out how buyers make their home decisions. Now, if we look at the way that home buyers make their home decisions, only 37% said that the home they bought was the one they saw on the internet. Now, 95% of buyers say they searched on the internet at one time during their search, but only 37% said internet was the reason that they purchased their home. That means the internet cannot be our only form of advertising. Although internet is very important, it's not our only form of advertising. Internet is where we focus the majority of our information, though, our intention, though, because buyers do see homes on the internet, and obviously all those buyers are searching on there. So we want to make sure that it's well presented. High quality photos, like professional photography. It's got a well-written description that highlights those features that buyers really love. And it's out there on as many websites and in the best possible light on those websites as possible. So that means, for example, although I hate Zillow, that we're going to feature it on Zillow. We're going to make sure that we get you up there on Zillow so that the buyers, many buyers, are seeing it. And also that it's well presented in the sense that as much wrong information is taken out and we're able to put the right information and good information about the property on there. Okay. The other thing is we're going to feature it on our own website where we get several hundred buyer leads per month. We're also going to email out to those buyers if they meet the criteria and are looking for your type of property. We're going to let them know and feature it to them. We want to make sure that we're connecting with buyers that might be interested in your property. Okay. Beyond internet, which I could go into more, if you have more questions, let me know. I'd be happy to tell you more about how we focus on the internet. The second thing we do is we network with other realtors, because 35% of the time, home buyers in the National Association of Realtors statistics study said that the realtor was the reason they purchased the home they did. That means that one of us, myself, or one of my team members, or someone else in our market told a buyer about a property, which we do regularly, said this one might work for you, and it did, and that's the one they purchased. So still, realtors are very important in that process. And so what I've found is one of my unique features in how we market is to go after those realtors that are regularly selling in an area and make sure they know about our properties. I call up those realtors regularly and I say, hey, I've got a new property on such and such an address. Let me tell you about it and see if you have any potential buyers. It's going to be a great property. I can get you in day one to make sure that you get the first look at it, and so we're getting the hype built up early on with even those realtors. Okay. Now, obviously, it's one thing that I always like to emphasize is that it's very important to us that we still make sure we take care of your interests and that we're representing our sellers in the best possible light. And so we're never going to give away our seller's position, but we definitely still want to market it out to realtors, because with realtors knowing about it is how they're going to expose it to their buyers as well. The other thing we do, which is 15% of the time buyers said they found their house this way, is make sure we've got great signs and flyers. So professional signs in front of the house, and then we like to always do directionals when the neighborhood allows it, to put directionals from major cross streets pointing into that home. And then also make sure we got flyers on the sign or flyers in the area that are distributed so that others know about the property and have seen the professional photos as well, because 15% of the time buyers found it that way. We really take our sign calls seriously, and a lot of realtors have kind of given up on this, but we found that from the sign we can generate both through the flyers and the sign calls a lot of buyers that generally are interested in your home, and when they're not, we can show them other homes in the area. And because we often have multiple homes in a specific area, we can kind of do cross-selling. And so I can say, oh, this one didn't work, well, I've got another one around the corner, and it could be yours. So it kind of goes back and forth. Obviously, if a buyer comes off of your sign, my goal is always to sell your home first, up until they get to the point where they say, no, this is not the right one for me. Then I'm going to allow them to maybe go see some other ones. Same thing with my other listings, though. I'm going to try and get them over to your listing if I can. So we definitely take those sign buyers seriously, and we try and make sure that we get them into your property and also expose them to your property as best as possible. The other thing that we're going to do, if you will allow it, and we found it to be very successful, is an open house. Both for brokers and for regular buyers. The Realtors Association said 7% of the time buyers bought because of an open house. We've found that in our business in 2013, it was 20%. We haven't done the statistics for 2014 yet, but in 2013, the statistic was 20% of our houses are listings sold because of an open house. Now, it doesn't always mean that it's our buyer or that it's a buyer that we talk to, but it is a buyer that the very first time they saw that house was at an open house we did. And then they may have brought their own realtor to write the offer, but their first exposure with the property and the exposure that caused them to want to purchase the property was an open house. Now, beyond that, print advertising is at 3%. That means that expensive newspaper and magazine ads now account for 3% of sales. That's why we don't generally do them. We are going to still do print flyers. We'll often do print distributions to our sphere of people or prints to an area, maybe a postcard to the area, but print advertising itself is just not worth the time. That's why we're going to cover 90 to 97% of it, but not the print advertising. And then the other thing is 3% of the time it's word of mouth. So if I tell you or I tell someone else I know about a house, it's possible that they're going to tell somebody that they know that is looking to buy in your area. So I always say, let everyone know that you're selling your house. You never know who might be actually looking to buy. So those are the important things, and that's also the important stuff about presenting, pricing, and marketing. That's just a little bit of an overview of how we work. Obviously, there's a lot more. This has only been a few short minutes of how these things work, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of an insight into kind of our logic and also our processes. And obviously, I want to give you a lot more information later. This is just kind of an intro into those things. If you have more questions, please email them over. My email address is templetonabq@gmail.com, templetonabq@gmail.com. Thanks. I look forward to talking to you soon, and I hope we can work together. Have a great day.